Truant's story started out annoying me, but by the end, it was one of my favorite parts of the book. It was actually my favorite part of the book. And that's why I would argue that this is not actually appropriately labeled as a horror story. You could argue that the struggle he goes through in parallel to the actual horror story create enough psychological tension that while scares aren't present explicitly, it is still a kind of horror. But to me, it just seems more like a kind of character story, using a horror story as a vessel to tell itself. Like, I really think Johnny's story is the primary story of the book. And the other story is just the means of having an excuse to tell Johnny's story. And I think it's actually significantly more important than the story of the house. And that could just be my own biases. I lost my brother to drug abuse years ago. Some of his experiences remind me of some of the struggles that he may have experienced. And like I mentioned, I've had family members deal with schizophrenia. So there was a lot of empathizing for Johnny's experiences for me. So that could just be my own biases shining through. I just don't really particularly find anything in it scary. I can also see an argument for putting it into a more Lovecraftian category because the horror in it is not a really shaped horror. It's not a known horror. It's not something that you can really put a definitive finger on. And that fits well within that weird story or weird fiction kind of category. So, yeah, I guess I've kind of talked myself into thinking, yeah, you could classify it as horror, but I just think it's a really good character driven literary fiction. Either way, I enjoyed it and I would recommend it on the condition that you actually look at it as a reading experience and you know going into it that it's not going to be just a simple sit down and read. If you don't like physical media, this is absolutely not for you because you're not going to get the same experience out of it. And while I've read that one of his books has that digital interactive thing, the one that came in between this and The Familiar, I cannot imagine my Kindle truly capturing the experience of reading House of Leaves. I'm not going to give any sort of point scale ranking because those are really, really hardcore arbitrary and generally completely meaningless until I have a whole body of works built up. Like, once I've gotten a bunch of review videos out and you can kind of browse through and see what things I do recommend, what things I don't recommend, there's no point in putting a scale out there. Because realistically, if you're looking at a review online, what you really want is, does this person actually have similar interests to me? If they do, cool. Then I can kind of take their recommendations at face value. If they don't, then realistically, they mean nothing to me.